Okay, gonna try this a little differently than just writing the recipes out because I don't measure anything, and I thought this might be easier for you guys. I'll just put all these in the same spot and you can go to that YouTube channel and find the recipes. So this is gonna be Italian beef. So got a roast in there, cut one onion. You can put as much onion in there as you want though. And then we're gonna cook that on low for 8 hours. Bear with me. My camera skills are gonna need a little work. Anyway, gonna cook that on low so it's ready at dinner time. So start with the onions, add a little garlic, and don't go too crazy because you don't want it to just be overwhelming garlic flavor in it. Okay, and then add some black pepper. Okay, black pepper, and then I'm gonna put some Lowry's in there. All right. I'm gonna add dry Italian dressing to this, so don't go too crazy with any kind of salt because that's got salt in it. This is thyme. And then got Good Seasons Italian dressing. I'm gonna add that. I need a tripod. Don't have one. Deal with the Blair Witch problem. Right. I'm gonna do 2 packets of this Good Seasons dry Italian. And sometimes they didn't have the zesty Italian, but I usually buy the zesty when they have it. It's just the plain. And this will flavor that juice up too. That's in there. All right, so that's 1 packet. Two packets. Maybe. So she says, there we go. I'll get a tripod. I've got one at the office. Make this easier. Okay, so 2 packets of that zesty seasoning. All right, next thing we're gonna do is add, next thing we're gonna do is add the pepperoncinis and the juice from the pepperoncinis. So you get cloud in there. You can use it however many you want. If you want to use a big jar, they didn't have big jars at Target yesterday. But I usually use a big jar. I usually use about half of a big jar, but anyway, this is also part of what gives it the flavor. And Jim likes the pepperoni. So. But this will be however you like to eat it. So next thing is beef broth. I add that in so it can cook with the beef broth. That all filled up. You just want to make sure that you cover the meat. Otherwise you're going to have to flip that meat in there, and the whole point to the crock pot is to be able to put it in there and then not mess with it anymore. I'm going to add a little bit of water to that because I've got beef bouillon. Also I'm going to add we'll get the rest of this meat covered. All right. Done with the water. Okay. Now I'm going to add the bouillon base stuff. It's just beef base. The beef broth never has much flavor in it. It will at the end after it's had a chance to cook down with all that seasoning and stuff, but I add this to it anyway just to give it a little bit more flavor. I do that same thing with beef and noodles and chicken and noodles. All the same deal. All right. So there is that. All right. I'm going to add just a little teensy tiny drizzle of olive oil in there. And I'm going to add a splash of Worcestershire. All right. And then the very last thing we're going to do is horseradish. Just a little bit. You don't have to go crazy with the horseradish, but I'm also not going to use the spoon I just stirred that roast with because I don't want to contaminate the horseradish with the raw meat juice. Okay. All right. And that is everything for the Italian beef. If you want a little tiny bit spicy, you can add a few banana peppers. I'm not going to because I don't really like it spicy, but Jim will add them at the end. And I'm going to add just a little pinch of salt just because I didn't put any salt in it at all. There's some in that Italian dressing. Sorry, I'm muttering. So I don't want it to be too salty, but I'm going to add just a little bit of salt. All right, and then okay, here's the big thing. And I'm telling you this because I've done it before. Make sure that you are plugged in and turned on. I've done that before. I've come home and been super pissed off because I ruined an entire thing of roast meat.